Welcome back, everybody. We have position players rolling into camp, and we've got baseball games happening this week. Plus, the sideshow with Marcus Stroman continues. Apparently, he's not very happy with his role. Also, we're going to talk about the major spring battles and take a look at some prospects to keep an eye on during spring training. All that and more. Welcome back to baseball season. This is Pinstripe Territory.
Just wanted to talk, that's all.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Good to be back. Good to break out the fun hat on the day that the position players report to camp. And we're going to be increasing the cadence of these podcasts now that baseball is officially underway. Pitchers and catchers last week. Now we got position players in camp. I'm hoping to do shows on either Tuesday and Wednesday of this week, and then again on Friday. Yankees play Friday, but I'm not going to get a chance to watch it live. I'll be working FT, so I'll catch it afterwards, and then we'll do kind of a nighttime show. I'll probably do something this weekend, too. But before we get started, a few things. Number one, a lot of you have left kind messages for my folks. My parents both admitted to the hospital last week. My mom got out yesterday. I brought her home. My dad's supposed to get out tomorrow. So, hell yeah. Glad to have them on the mend. Appreciate all the kind words. And number two, tonight I am working with a new microphone. This is the Shure MV7DB. I'm still kind of working to calibrate the sound on my end, so let me know if you have any issues. I'm trying to get more of a clean, louder sound on all my devices. So, I'll take your comments into consideration as I continue to adjust the levels, but make sure your volume is set how you like it first. But everybody's in camp right now. We've got a few guys hurting, so let's get right to it. Let's talk about your 2025 New York Yankees. This was a interesting offseason, to say the least. And spring is already off to a strange start. I predicted multiple times last year that Juan Soto would end up with the Mets. Many of you said I was crazy. A few people said they were unsubscribing because I said something that apparently they were too delicate to hear, but ultimately it ended up being correct. So the Yankees were forced to go to plan B, and the jury is still out as to whether or not this team is better. It's a conversation I've been having with everybody who's been joining the show. Let's take a look at the depth chart real quick, and we will talk it out. We found out today that a few guys have some owies already. We knew about Jake Cousins, the elbow stuff. We knew about Clayton Beeter with the shoulder stuff. Today we found out about Giancarlo Stanton. He's dealing with some discomfort in both elbows, which is odd. I don't think I've ever heard of a position player having problems in both elbows at once. Usually a position player, will have elbow issues in their throwing arm, but he doesn't even throw from what I can tell. I mean, he's going to be a DH. I don't know how you get tennis elbow other than playing tennis. I've never had tennis elbow. I have no idea what it feels like. Maybe he has been playing tennis to try and limber up a little bit and become more flexible. I'll take it. But he's already got no legs, so why not take both arms? Pretty soon he's going to be a torso and a head, and that's it. Just literally a torso. As long as he's available to play in October, though, I'll take it because he's still going to mash bullets. No legs, no arms, don't need any of it. Just get the man fastballs in October. Trent Grisham also dealing with a hamstring issue. If he isn't ready on opening day, that could open the door for Everson Pereira. He was up a couple of years ago. Last year he had surgery, didn't see much of him. I wouldn't expect the hamstring issue to keep Trent Grisham out from opening day. I mean, he's got a while until opening day. It's 5 weeks away, so he should be able to get there as long as it's not too bad. But as of day one, in camp, this is what the roster looks like. And if you're listening, we're looking at the depth chart, and if you tuned out all winter, you might notice a couple of noticeable absences from your American League champions. Obviously, Soto. Everybody's heard about Soto. No Anthony Rizzo, no Alex Verdugo, and Gleyber Torres signed with the Tigers. I think it's interesting that Anthony Rizzo and Alex Verdugo both were starting World Series games for the Yankees and then received absolutely zero interest this winter from other teams. That's one of the reasons I'm kind of optimistic about this team. I look at it, and we're better at first base. We're better in left field. Technically we're better in right field because Judge is replacing Soto there. So we're better defensively, and he's a better hitter, better numbers. And then Cody Bellinger in center, obviously a downgrade from Judge, but not a huge downgrade. And he's a good defender. And then, obviously Chisholm replacing Gleyber Torres. I feel like that's going to be an improvement defensively. And then right now I've got Oswald Peraza at third base. We've talked about that a lot, and we'll talk about the infield battle coming up. There's going to be a lot of pressure on Dominguez to make up for some of the power and the on-base capabilities that the Yankees lost when Soto signed with the Mets. I'm certain that if he plays 140, 150 games, he's going to put up decent numbers. He will be better than Verdugo offensively, but I worry that the fan base is collectively putting too much pressure on this kid. I see some people saying, oh, he's going to go 40-40, whatever. No, I think he can go 25 home runs, 30 stolen bases if he plays 150 games. If he hits 250, 260, I'll consider that a solid rookie year. Get on base, draw your walks, play solid D. That's what we're looking for. A 3 WAR for a rookie, I think, is an attainable goal, and I think that would be a nice, solid start to his career. Bellinger should be fun to watch. I've been dreaming of his swing at Yankee Stadium since the first time that I saw it. And just to set realistic expectations, he's not the same guy who hit 47 home runs and won the MVP. He's just not. But I think there's a very good chance that he can be the guy who won Comeback Player of the Year 2 years ago with the Cubs. If he hits 300 with 25 bombs, that is a hell of a year. And he's going to be playing for a contract too, so I expect him to be in great shape. I expect him to put up good numbers. Paul Goldschmidt, I can imagine being an under-the-radar guy this spring. He strolled into camp today, big smile on his face. He's one of those kind of low-key guys who just happens to be a very good baseball player when he's right. One thing that I think we can expect from him is that he's going to be out there every day. He plays 150 games every year. I know he's 37 years old, and at some point Father Time will catch up to him, but let's hope he's got one more good year into him. Jazz rolled into camp today with his classic sunglasses from the ad that he did a couple of years ago for MLB The Show. Again, he looks like another guy who, despite only playing half a season with the Yankees, looks to be the prototypical player for Yankee Stadium. I could see him hitting 30 home runs this year. And he stole 40 bases last year. So that is a dynamic player. I'm a little bit worried about injuries with him. He was mostly healthy last year. He did have that little injury after the Yankees got him, but he has had a lot of injuries in his career because he plays so hard. I do like guys that play hard, but I don't want you to play with reckless abandon, right? We saw that with guys like Clint Frazier, just running into walls and stuff like that. Just be healthy. You're more valuable in the lineup than running and crashing into walls all the time. The rotation so far looks good. Everybody seems healthy. That's going to be key. The rotation healthy through the regular season and into the postseason, and I think the Yankees are American League champions. The only rotation I think that could be better than the Yankees is the Seattle Mariners, but they don't have the offense. So, I'm liking the way the Yankees pitching is shaping up. The bullpen looks like a strength. We'll talk about Devin Williams in a minute, but we do have some injury concerns already. Jake Cousins missed some time with injuries last year, already suffering from a sore forearm. They said the UCL is fine, said it looks great. I don't know. Clayton Beeter, he's going to be pitching exclusively as a relief pitcher. He reported to camp with a shoulder issue. He missed a significant amount of time last year with shoulder problems. So, Devin Williams, we'll talk about him in a second, but a guy who missed some time last year with a back injury. Scott Efros, he's a guy that I'm really looking forward to seeing. When the Yankees got him from the Cubs a couple of years ago, he was leading the league in innings pitched for a relief pitcher, and he almost immediately got hurt, but I liked his stuff before he went down. Last year when he came back, it was pretty evident from the metrics that his stuff had taken a hit after a couple of surgeries. I'd be interested to see if a full, normal offseason will get him back to where he needs to be. I am pretty confident about the Yankees this year. I think they're a 90-plus win team. Does that mean 91 wins, or does that mean 95 or 96 wins? That's what we're going to find out over the next 6 months here on Pinstripe Territory. So tune in after every game. I will say this. The last 2 teams that lost Juan Soto got better the following season. It was surreal seeing him in Mets camp today with the blue and orange. No ill will towards the guy, but I want him to hit 240 with 14 home runs. All right, let's talk a little bit about Devin Williams. Clean shaven. I hate that was the big story with him over the last few days. He's kind of gone under the radar as an acquisition this winter. I'm a little bit ticked off about it because he is a unbelievable pitcher when right. MLB Network has this thing called the Shredder, where it ranks all the different players, all the different pitchers, all that stuff based on metrics and stats and all that. And they have Devin Williams as the most effective relief pitcher in Major League Baseball. Now, they had Bobby Witt Jr. like 4th or 5th among shortstops, which is absurd. But Devin Williams is legit. When he's healthy, I mean, he's incredible. You look at the numbers. Now, there's 2 players that the Mets signed away from us this winter, Juan Soto and Clay Holmes. Soto is undoubtedly going to be difficult to replace. But Clay Holmes was straight up dookie last year, led the league in blown saves, and Devin Williams is just playing better. If the Yankees get the same amount of leads deep in the game this year, which I hope they do, but it's not a guarantee because the offense could be different, he's just going to miss more bats. He's got the most wicked changeup I've ever seen. They call him the airbender. Now, looking at his StatCast numbers, you see the bars on the graph are not solid colors. That's because he didn't have a large enough sample to qualify. But if he had qualified, he would have been basically the Aaron Judge of relief pitchers. Elite numbers across the board. Minor problem in October, unfortunately. He gave up the home run to Pete Alonso. But missed the first part of the year with a back injury, came back and was excellent. The stuff looked excellent. The walks can be a concern. You look at the walk percentage; it's in the 12.5% range. That's not good. But fastball velocity also not elite, but above average. But everything else pretty much elite. Ground ball percentage right in the middle of the range. About about 50th percentile. And then you got the expected ERA and the expected batting average, both top of the charts. Whiff percentage, K percentage, all fantastic. His off-speed run value is terrific. So this is a guy who's going to make a big difference. I think just having him instead of Clay Holmes for, let's say, half of those games, it means the Yankees are going to pick up, 5 or 6 more wins, right? But you got to get the same amount of leads late in the game, and that's going to be tricky. Although they will have some other strengths in the bullpen. You got Loaizaga coming back. That's a big deal. So that's where we're at. I feel really good about the way this team is shaping up. There are some spring battles that I want to take a look at as we head into spring training. There's 2 main ones that we're watching. The final starting spot in the infield, whether that's third base or second base, and it's about 90% at this point, then it's going to be third base. Feels like the Yankees want Jazz Chisholm to go back to his original position, his most comfortable position, second base, where his range and athleticism will both play up. But also, the backup catcher spot deserves some attention. So let's take a look at both of these battles. We're going to begin with the infield battle. Might as well call it the third base battle, but we'll call it the infield battle just to be inclusive. There are 3 main candidates right now in my mind. Oswaldo Cabrera, 25 years old. Last year, got off to a terrific start. Hit 247, 8 home runs, 661 OPS, 87 OPS plus. Remember how great he got off to a start in Houston? He was an RBI machine. Kind of wish he had gotten more of a chance in the playoffs. Oswald Peraza, he's my pick as of right now. He's out of options, so I want him to just get a shot. Let's just see what he's got out there. If he has a bad first month or 2, maybe you go out and make a trade. That's if you don't make a trade before then. But he's another guy with premium athleticism. He's got the best arm out of any of these infielders with the possible exception of Jazz Chisholm, but that's a toss-up. And then the question is, can he hit? And then DJ LeMahieu, he's really become a shell of his former self in recent years. The injuries have been an issue. They've sapped a lot of his power, his feet. I mean, power, a lot of hitters will tell you, comes from the ground up, right? The feet, through the legs, through the hips, and then into the arms and the hands. And if your starting point, your feet are all banged up, it's very difficult to generate any kind of thump at all. And that's what we've seen from DJ LeMahieu over the last couple of years. I also want to mention Yorbit Vivas, who could get some attention here. He hit 225 last year, 348 on-base percentage. The on-base percentage looks pretty good, but he was a guy they expected more out of. You look at his career, minor league statistics, 271 career average. So last year, obviously a huge step back. We'll take a look back at his stats before he came to the Yankees. He was about a 270 hitter. Back in 2021, he hit 312 with a 396 on-base percentage. The year before that, 327 with a 410 on-base percentage. You expect numbers to get a little bit worse as you go up the minor leagues. That's what's happened. But last year, he had an orbital fracture and missed some time. And look, that kind of ruined his season. So I'm a little bit hopeful that he can bounce back and, have a great spring and maybe put himself in that conversation for the third base spot. Now let's take a look at the catching position where we're searching for the backup. And as I see it right now, there are four main candidates. You got Ben Rice, 26 years old, did have 7 home runs last year, had the 3 home run game that forced me to shave my head on an ill-advised tweet. You got J.C. Escara, 29 years old, looks like a solid backup journeyman type, 261 average last year in the minor leagues, 355 on base percentage, 12 home runs. Jesus Rodriguez, this is a guy that the Yankees added to the 40-man roster earlier this winter. I like what he brings to the table statistically. Now, stats don't always translate, again, as you move up levels, but 302 between A-plus and AA with 10 home runs, 375 on base percentage, and an 856 OPS. And then you got Alex Jackson, who they acquired as part of the Fernando Cruz deal, 29 years old, 132 career Major League average, 6 home runs. So not much of an offensive weapon. I tell you what, Jesus Rodriguez is very interesting to me. The last time we had a catching prospect named Jesus, it was Jesus Montero. And that did not work out too well. He ended up getting traded for Michael Pineda. Pineda got hurt, tore his labrum right away in spring training. And then Montero put on a bunch of weight, ended up throwing a ice cream sandwich at a scout who was mocking him for his weight gain. And just like that, his career was over. Ben Rice is interesting to me. He was a catcher before he became a first baseman last year. Garrett Cole threw to him in the minor leagues and said that he was an excellent receiver. I could see him working his way onto the roster because then he can also be a backup to Paul Goldschmidt. Now, Goldschmidt, as we mentioned, plays 150 games every year, does not miss time, but he might be able to sort of tutor Rice into becoming the next first baseman, being around the big league team for a full year, getting at bats, probably filling in some stints when, Wells either has a short IL stint, which is bound to happen for catchers occasionally, or, if he has to miss a couple of days, takes a foul tip to the wrist or whatever. It's a chance for a guy like Rice to get a few at bats. And I like the idea of plugging and playing a left-handed power bat when one of your left-handed power bats goes down. So, and by the way, Rice turns 26 years old on Friday, so it might be now or never for him. Also, this spring, a lot of prospects to keep an eye on. A lot of people hate spring training because the games don't count, and half the time you don't have the real lineup in there. But I really enjoy getting a look at some of the top prospects, so let's take a look at some of these guys as I get some water over here.
Right there in front of us.
What do you hear? What do you say?
Obviously, Spencer Jones, somebody we're going to take a look at. I don't think he's going to break camp with the team right now. There's no spot for him. He's got to get that strikeout rate down under 30% this year in the minor leagues to even have a chance at cracking the big league roster, unless there's devastating injuries throughout. I saw footage that was posted this winter. I'm sure a lot of you saw this too. It was posted by Fireside Yankees, great social media. And they basically compared Aaron Judge's swing to a side-by-side of, or like a mirror image of Spencer Jones' swing, right? Because Judge is righty, Spencer Jones is lefty. And they're both very tall, and it was a very similar swing. Now, there's more to hitting than just straight up copying somebody's mechanics, right? Otherwise, the swingman guy from Instagram would be paid like Shohei or Juan Soto. Pitch recognition, timing, confidence, going up to hit with a plan. These are all things that really factor into how good of a hitter someone is. They're critical. It's that. That's what we're going to look for Spencer Jones. Quality at bats. Last year, he did cut down on his swing and miss in spring training, but couldn't carry it over to the Double-A season. George Lombard Jr. made a great impression on me last year in spring training. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does this year. Roderick Arias came with all the international hype. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. Maybe he can take that step forward statistically, and maybe a good spring can get him off to a good start. On the pitching side, spring training is always revealing, but these days we have StatCast data for all the minor league parks and stuff, and we get a look when guys are in Tampa at all their StatCast stuff. So we got to see last year Luis Heel, when he was trying to make the team, putting up elite StatCast numbers. I want to see what kind of numbers Bryce Cunningham and Ben Hess and Chase Hampton, guys who are trying to impress, and they're not going to be just getting their work in. These are guys who are putting themselves in the conversation to fill in at some point. I want to see what they can do statistically, or not metrically, in terms of spin rate, in terms of, the break on their pitches, the movement, extension. I want to see all that stuff and how it translates. And, of course, the aforementioned Jesus Rodriguez, Yorbit Vivas, they'll be in spring. I'd imagine we'll see Brock Selvage. We saw him last year. We might see somebody like a Elmer Rodriguez, Cruz. Zach Messenger's 25. We could see him fill in. And obviously we're going to see Yoendris Gomez. So this is the most up-to-date MLB pipeline top prospects. They're going to update it soon, but this was updated back in January. So that's where we're at. And spring training is here, so we will begin seeing these guys very soon, especially early in spring training before the cuts start happening. You're not playing the regulars, 7, 8, 9 innings. They're playing 2, 3 innings, getting 1 or 2 at-bats. Then they're out of there, and that's when you see guys, like Spencer Jones, George Lombard, Roderick Arias. And, of course, they're hitting against other minor league pitchers, because the starters for the opposition aren't going deep into games either. But it's still good to get a feel for who these guys are. We got a comment here from BHD Claps that says, Bryce Cunningham is going to be a stud. All right.
There in front of us.
I feel good about our prospects. I know we don't have a great system, but we've, in terms of rankings, but we've produced some good players in recent years, and I think that will continue over the next few. Last time we spoke, it was about Marcus Stroman. I know it's been a few days. I was with my folks at the hospital. As I mentioned, my mom back home today, dad going home tomorrow, so I'm grateful for that. But in that time, Marcus Stroman has reported to camp, and he has made a statement. He said he's a starter. He's going to not pitch out of the bullpen. Better way to say this. He said he's not going to pitch out of the bullpen. I get it. Look, he's got an $18 million option if he throws 140 innings, and without an injury on the staff, I don't think he's going to get that opportunity. So he can see that $18 million, slowly vanishing. It's like Marty in Back to the Future where he looks at the photo and he can see his family just kind of disappearing because his mom is in love with him. And if she falls in love with him, she'll never marry his dad. And that means his family will never exist. Marcus Stroman is starting to see that $18 million from his bank account just disappear on his banking app. But I still think that he could be traded, but we did get an interesting voicemail about that we'll play in just a few minutes. I have a real problem with him saying that he won't pitch out of the bullpen. You're getting paid to pitch. You're not getting paid for a specific role. The Yankees right now, if they have 5 starting pitchers better than you, then guess what? You're in the bullpen. And right now, Garrett Cole, Max Fried, Luis Gil, Carlos Rodon, and Clark Schmidt are all better than him. They're all better. And, you're not going to send Clark Schmidt to the bullpen, not when he pitched to a tune of a 2.85 ERA in 85 innings last year. He was outstanding before he got hurt. They love him. They love his stuff. You're not going to send Rodon to the bullpen. He makes too much. And he won 16 games last year. He led the staff in wins. Luis Gil, Rookie of the Year as a starter, 15 wins, had a 3-ish ERA until the final weekend of the season. He's not going anywhere. Max Fried and Garrett Cole, non-starters. That's the wrong way to say that. It's a non-starter to move them to the bullpen. That was a silly mistake on my part. But the conversation's a non-starter. They are the number 1 and number 2 in the rotation, so that leaves Marcus Stroman as the odd man out. And I'm sorry if if you don't want to pitch in the bullpen. That's tough break, man. That's a tough break. You got to do what you got to do. But I still think that there is a trade out there to be had. All right, so we got a quick ad here from the guys at Foul Territory for Hungryroot. We got 554 watching. Reminder to like. It really does help the channel. Subscribe, all that stuff. We've been growing like crazy. We've been doing some advertising. It's just really taken off, and the community is getting so much bigger. So help us grow. Hit that like and subscribe button. Quick word from the guys over at Foul Territory, and then I'm back with a very interesting voicemail.
Kratz, do you like spending an hour on grocery shopping?
Nope. Speed up the process, please.
Introducing Hungryroot to the FT fam.
Now we can all be bougie with our own personal shopper to handle the food shopping, including recs based on what you're looking to put in your body.
I stack my Hungryroot box with items like gluten-free, dairy-free, blueberry waffles for breakfast, shrimp veggie bowls for lunch, and a little filet mignon with potatoes and broccolini for dinner.
You can also say just, hey, Hungryroot, I eat paleo, or I'm vegetarian, and they load up your cart with personalized personalized recommendations.
And those recs keep evolving as they learn about what you're into. Also, no BS, as in no artificial sweeteners or preservatives in any of Hungryroot's food. You're going to love Hungryroot as much as FT does. Take advantage of this exclusive offer. For a limited time, get 40% off your first box, plus get a free item in every box for life. Go to hungryroot.com/FT and use code FT. That's hungryroot.com/FT, code FT to get 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life.
All right. So before you get to your voicemail, one of the things I'm going to do more this season is just kind of talk more about what's going on in my life, what I've been doing and stuff, because I think it makes an interesting story. I mean, sometimes there's just not a ton of baseball to talk. During the year, you might have a game where it's like 1-0, the Yankees lose, there's no offense, whatever. I will dig into more of the stuff that you guys like to talk about. I've been hearing that you guys like the personal touches. So I wanted to give a quick movie review. I got invited to go see a premiere of a movie called The Monkey. It's about this killer monkey. It's by Osgood Perkins. He is the son of Anthony Perkins, who played Norman Bates in Psycho. And it's about this toy monkey that causes catastrophe wherever it goes. It's amazing. I just saw it a week ago, and I just got an alert to rate it, and it popped up while we were on the commercial. So I wanted to mention it. I do, as an artist, I feel like it's important to support other pieces of art that you enjoy. So I want, if you guys agree with my sense of, my sensibilities, I guess, you'll probably like that movie, the sense of humor and stuff like that. Very dark, very gory at times, but not overly so. But just a really, really good movie and funny. Will Curry says, glad your parents are doing better. Me too. I'm glad my dad's going to get to leave the hospital tomorrow. We almost got him out of there today, but they wanted to, keep him one more day. So hope he doesn't mind me talking about it. But we'll hopefully have him home soon. All right, quick voicemail.
Man, as a lifelong Yankees fan, it really is looking like Cashman kind of backed himself into a corner with this Stroman deal. A few years back, he got caught with the old foot and mouth disease when he basically said he didn't want to trade for Stroman because he didn't view him as a playoffs quality starter. And fast forward to when they overextended and signed him to this ridiculous deal they signed him to. They weren't even able, I don't think he threw one inning in the entire playoffs.
Nope.
So he actually was right. He's not a playoff starter on this team or even a playoff pitcher on this team. And now he's kind of got himself between a rock and a hard place. And I don't know what he's really what he plans on getting as a return for him if we're even able to trade him at this point. Looks like they're crossing their fingers and hoping that they stay healthy and somebody else gets hurt on another team. But at this point, it's really not looking good, and they're either going to have to eat a lot of money or just kind of accept them and move on. I wanted to hear your thoughts. All right.
Yeah, so if you let him go this year, you're eating $18 million. So I don't think they're going to do that. He's obviously not going to throw 140 innings if everybody's healthy. So I wouldn't count on that extra money. One thing that's a possibility, like you mentioned, is somebody getting hurt from another team, and then you go out and make the trade. But you kind of need it to be a contender that's already trying to spend a lot to win. Because, I mean, if somebody gets hurt for the Marlins, they're not going to trade for an $18 million pitcher, right? If Paul Skeens gets hurt for the Pirates, they're not going to trade for Marcus Stroman. They're just going to say, well, I guess Skeens is out. What you really need is somebody from a contender to lose a couple of starters and get desperate, right? And then they might trade for Marcus Stroman. But as of right now, he is a Yankee, and he should act like it. Look, somebody had commented that he did sign a role to be a starter. I'd have to see that contract. The way I understand contracts is you sign a personal services contract, and then you're used however you're used. And they put bonuses in for things like starts, right, or options, and he has a vesting option for 140 innings pitched. Some people have options for a number of starts, whatever. I think innings pitched is a good way to do it because then you're not like opening or whatever. You have to put in the work to earn that option, and it's just not going to happen with the Yankees this year unless they have an injury. So anything can happen, as always. Again, reminder to subscribe, all that good stuff. I want to get out of here before the SNL thing. I don't want to battle SNL. I know a lot of people are tuning in for that, the SNL 50. My wife wants me to come watch it. Wanted to give a shout out to the audio platform. Go ahead and follow us on all your audio platforms too. Go ahead and rate us, all that good stuff. I want to really grow the audience on the audio side of things this year. We were really picking up steam this winter. Obviously, it's kind of died down over the last couple of months. We haven't been doing shows as much, but once the season starts, we do like 8 or 9 podcasts a week because we do every single game. We do 3 to 4 voicemail episodes a week. And then we'll usually do 1 or 2 conversations a month just with, beat writers or, other people who work with me on the channel, players, things like that. So, as always, thank you so much for watching. And I'll be back either Tuesday or Wednesday. I got some more technology coming to the studio. I hope you guys like the sound of the new mic. I'm going to go listen to it on my TV, see how it sounds. But once again, thank you so much. Get well soon to my folks. Get well soon to Stanton and Trent Grisham and Clayton Beater and Jake Cousins, and let's go win championship number 28. I'll see you next time. Hey, while I've got you here, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Pinstripe Territory is the official Yankees podcast of the Foul Territory Network. We are home to the #1 most watched MLB postgame show on YouTube since 2021. We're here after every Yankees game and for reactions to all the best news and rumors during the offseason. Be a part of the show by calling into the voicemail 718-899-1068. Try to keep it clean for me. And if you ever miss us on YouTube, be sure and subscribe on all your favorite podcast platforms. Go ahead and rate us 5 stars. It'll help other people find the show. Thanks for watching. See ya.